In 6 months, Don, my practice grew from seeing about 300 visits a week to over 550 visits a week.
Wow.
In 6 months. Nothing changed. Procedure didn't change. Nothing changed.
Except Dr. Peter changed.
He just shifted something in my brain and said, oh, maybe I'm supposed to serve more. A similar kind of thing happened when Dr. Oberstein calls me on the phone and he says, Peter, you have choices in your life and how much of an impact and difference you want to make. What kind of mark you want to leave in the world. He says, you got a great practice. I totally understand. I know what it's like to be in practice. I love practice. He says, I'm just opening the door for you if you want to serve at a different level. And basically, something shifted inside of me, and Patty and I talked about it. And then I talked to my associates about it, and I said, I think I need to do this. And, leaving everything that I absolutely loved in my life, my home, my practice, which was in my home, my staff, my team, which is an incredible team, my patients, many that had served my life, my kids, my family, my colleagues, my support system.
Yeah, your friends, all your friends,
everything. And moved 3,000 miles away. And you never know, BJ's credit was saying you never know how far reaching something you'll think, say, or do could affect the lives of millions tomorrow. I knew that we had made an impact on our little community there. When you leave, you really hits you, not just how it affected me, but how our presence affected the people that were there, and the stories from patients, from colleagues, in terms of the differences you made. And I my ego didn't need that, but it was like, it's just so touching to know that your part of your life's purpose was truly met. And it's that calling, that same drive is what drove me to be here, is, well, what difference can I make in the future of our profession with students, with the structure and the administrative side of things. It was really easy. The first month I was here, I as I said, we were talking before, I said, I could be doing this job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and not sleep. I mean, there's plenty to do in terms of this. And my first month, I don't think I walked outside of my office more than, except to come in and leave. And
visit with us. We saw you. We saw you in January.
That's right. Yeah, I'd schedule that. But I made a commitment to myself that every week I need to be out of my office and be with students, because students are the reason I'm here, right?
Yeah.
So at least a couple times a week, I'll speak to students at clubs, on some classes with instructors. The other day, I went up to the health center. I'm experiencing what it's like to be a student in the a patient in the health center. And one of the faculty doctors saw me there. He says, "Oh, you never come by and visit." I said, "Well, you guys are all busy. You're taking care of the students and making sure patients get served." He said, "Come by my office, give me a hug." So I go to his office, and we just started talking. And students were coming in and out to have sign-off forms. And after about 15 minutes of us talking, I was going to be in there for 2 minutes. I wanted to be like 45 minutes talking. Stories and everything from technique and philosophy and politics and practice and everything. And there were like 20 students all in his office, like sitting there drooling in their mouths. And I said, "Oh, this is really why I'm here." Because it's not just the stuff that happens from a platform that makes the difference, but the serendipitous conversations that happen.
And I was going to say, like, back in the day, like when at Palmer, there used to be all the who's of who in chiropractic was teaching at the school. And so I think it is super important that we've had chiropractors out serving people for 30, 40 years. Excellent at what they do, run super successful practices, are amazing at adjusting, and then they can come back to mentor the students, because I think that's probably one of the best ways to keep chiropractic.
100%. And Don, as with practice, I mean, the core value of practice is serving patients. You're there, you show up, you clear their nervous system, you educate them, you support them in their lives. That's the core value of what we do. But there's so many other things that are built around that you need for successful practice. Good business systems, communication systems, organizational systems, training your staff, marketing, all of those things will let you keep that core alive. So I'm out here, in terms of the stuff that, of the college, in terms of decision making, direction, leadership. But this is the core value, and this is why we're here, which is students.
Right.
And the chiropractic student is the core value of what makes Life West tick, and it's magical and it's amazing. But it really comes into looking on your insides and saying, well, what's that right thing to do? Because you try to intellectually, your brain says, no, what are you, crazy? Why would you ever do something like that? Do you know the cost of living is in California?
Yeah, no doubt. Just rent, my goodness.
It's magical.
Yeah.
So it's the hardest thing I've ever done and the most amazing journey I could ever be on. That's
cool. So what you're excited about at the school? Like, what kind of things are you doing to kind of get students excited about chiropractic?
Interesting thing in education, a lot of things come across my desk relative to higher ed and the challenges in higher ed, and even stuff within chiropractic. Much of chiropractic education is trying to negotiate this thing of virtual education, online education. And there's some colleges now where you actually don't even show up on campus for a year. You can do a lot of your classes online. Recognizing that, Life West took a very interesting perspective on online education. Because the leadership of the college are chiropractors, Dr. Ron and myself are both chiropractors, the provost is a chiropractor. Yeah. We recognize that the most important thing is not academics as much as success in practice. Right. So the decisions that we make is, well, what's gonna create the successful practitioner? There's nothing that builds a successful practitioner better than to be in practice and get their hands on people.
Right.
So a lot of the choices that were made in terms of curriculum were looking at that side first rather than academics. So in that vein, the first few years is not done at all online. It's all done in person. One, because we believe people need community. You need totally structure of other people going down this same journey. I mean, as you remember when you were in school, some of the friendships that you initiate during your first quarters, you have 20, 30, 40 years down the road in practice.
Totally.
Those relationships are critical in terms of developing understanding and connection amongst people, communication, but learning your art form as well. How do you set up? How do you learn how to do this thing? And the school starts from literally day one, putting your hands on people. So literally from quarter one, it's the phrase that has been given is clinically inspired learning, that everything is done so that you become the best clinician you can be. So students learn from very early on how to put your hands on people, how to build communication skills with patients, how to understand the vitalistic ideals of chiropractic philosophy and integrate them into your conversations. So that was one of the huge things. The entire last year is designed to try to make it very practical for the students. And we literally push them out of the school and try to get them into offices, preceptor docs. So it's like internships. In most states, you can adjust in the United States under another person's license. So a student goes and is actually in an office learning practical skills of communication, adjusting, dealing with staff, marketing, all the things that we do within practice, and they actually begin to observe those in practices that are aligned to the students' values. And the academic side is all done online. So the whole last 9 months, 12 months is done virtually online, as well as within a chiropractic office. So it's flip-flops from how many of the colleges are doing it right now. So totally. Not any virtually on the front side. So that's one huge piece that I love about the school.